So we are surrounded by social causes. Like at all times, it's gender equality, it's homelessness, it's sustainability, and I think that can become pretty overbearing to the average person, and we just start to focus on our life and our mortgage and our kids and our job. And then when it comes to sustainability stuff, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. You know, when you're thinking about conservation, you're dealing with issues surrounding with food, water, waste, energy, transportation, and each single one of those have a huge amount of intricacies within them as to how we are actually living sustainably or unsustainably. Kind of all of these things lead to just general apathy. We say like, what can I actually do about it, and why should I? We associate it with people that are rich sometimes. We see this as an economic issue. Well, I can't afford to shop at Whole Foods or to buy a Prius or to put solar panels on my house. That's an economic issue. We think about it as a political issue sometimes. We say like, oh, this is just for the progressive left, right? I'm not a part of that party. My family comes from a different background, so maybe this is not an issue that speaks politically to me. And then we also think about it as a social issue. Like, that's for white people that live in Portland, Oregon, and like have CSA boxes. And these three things, social, political, and economic, have been the way in which people have said, like, I am not a part of this movement. And in large parts, we as the movement have been very exclusive in saying you need to be one of these three things in order to be a part of this movement. So when looking at why people bring up excuses as to sustainability being challenging and something that they couldn't adopt in their own life, they say it's too hard, right? It's too much work, it's too expensive, I don't know how. They say, well, I don't even know where to begin. I know, a lot of issues can be intimidating. Where do you shop? What kind of products do you buy? How do you remember to bring your own bags to the store? All of these things can become intimidating, and someone that is not familiar with that behavior may not necessarily feel like they have the resources or the knowledge or the skill set to be able to do so. And ultimately, I think it's really an addiction. I think we all get used to saying, I can't live without plastic bags. I can't live without driving my car. I can't live without eating meat. And all of these things really become an addiction in our life, and they become crippling. So I think we, all of us collectively, are ultimately failing when we're having these conversations with people that are keep bringing up these excuses because we're telling the wrong story, and we're telling it in the wrong way. So what I wanted to do today is give you guys just 10 quick, simple, easy ways to change the conversation on conservation. Some of them may apply to issues that you care deeply about, some of them may not, but they're all tangible, they're all actionable, and they all relate specifically to this work that we're doing here today. So first is consensus building. Like right now, we are totally separatists. We say like, we are here, you're there. We're good guys, you're bad guys. We're saving the planet, you're killing the planet. And that's not a particularly awesome way to start a conversation with someone. The first thing we have to do is find things that we have in common with people. And I think you'd be surprised, even the person on the furthest other end of the aisle from you, you share a lot in common. Once again, like I said, you love your families, you love your communities, you want to live in safe, healthy, vibrant places. We have to make these issues, as I mentioned right now, we talk about the either economic, social, or political factors that are keeping people away from sustainability, and we're saying, all right, well, to be sustainable, you have to do this, 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 and then that. And it seems hard. So we have to be a little bit more accessible to people that don't feel as if they're currently a part of the movement so that they can actually take steps to become so. And ultimately, I think that's grounded in compassion and understanding that we came from a place, I don't think any single one of us was the reincarnated Buddha. We didn't grow up perfect. We all learned on our own terms, either through reading a book or taking a class or a conversation you had with someone. Something spoke to you in a way in which probably hasn't to that person. And if you approach them once again with negativity, with aggression, they're probably not going to be so inclined to have that conversation. I think sweating the small stuff is incredibly important and telling people quick, simple, effective ways in which they can make change in their life. Not many of us can hear a change that we have to make that is comprehensive, say everything about yourself. You have to change the way in which you eat, in which you get around from one place to another, in which you consume, right, as a consumer in a capitalist society. And we're not going to just say, okay, fine, I'll do all of those things. Right, we have to make small changes one at a time. And I think you have to talk about the benefits versus the challenges. And this is a conversation I was just having earlier today. I feel like so many times when we're talking about sustainability with people, we're essentially saying, all right, well, I want you to bike to work, but here are all the challenges. You're going to have to get a bike. You're going to get sweaty. It might be dangerous. You're going to have to find a place to lock it and how to do so. And like, in what other salesmanship arena are we doing anything like that? You don't walk into a store and the salesman tells you everything that's wrong with the product. They tell you about the benefits. This is how it's great, right? Riding your bike to work, you're going to get to know your community better. You're going to get some exercise. Parking is a lot easier. Right? You can talk about multiple benefits, and it's really not about being unreasonable and saying, all right, this is perfect. right? There's not going to be any challenges. You do have to express the fact that it's not a walk in the park, but we can talk about the benefits over the challenges specifically. I think we have to work to make sustainability and conservation much more personal. Right now, so many of the conversations are talking about climate change and deforestation and the Pacific garbage patch, and most of us don't really understand the severity of those issues. I don't understand the severity of those issues. When I hear, 3 football fields are cut down every minute in the Amazon rainforest, to me, I think, like, how is there still even Amazon left? Like, wouldn't it have been gone like 20 minutes ago? So we have to make things much more personal. And we have to say, all right, this is how this affects you in your life, and find that correlation. And that, once again, goes back to consensus building. I think we also have to rebrand the way in which we're telling the story. I mean, if you want someone to consider climate change in a different light, right? So I think we have to rebrand the way in which we're telling the story, how we're telling it, the design, the communication strategy, the media surrounding it. Ultimately, I think the youth movement is the most important area to focus on. So if you have either an organization or an initiative in which you're looking to grow consensus, ultimately, if you just look at it from a pragmatic standpoint, young people are going to be alive longer than old people, being willing to try new things, right, and innovation. I was also just saying a little bit earlier, it's crazy how there's literally a tech startup right now where someone's investing hundreds of millions of dollars into figuring out how to get your food to you 1 second faster. And literally the least important thing in the world. Yet in the social sector, we're not investing in new, innovative startup ideas. Well, I mentioned positivity and accessibility and consensus building, but also we have to be unafraid to really hold on to our own ethic as well. So those are my 10 tips. Hopefully some of those were helpful to your guys' own efforts and initiatives.